Hello, I'm Ron Squire. Welcome to highlights of the 2025 Formula SimRacing World Championship. Round 2 of the championship is the Malaysian Grand Prix set around the Sepang International Circuit near Kuala Lumpur. Created on virtually swamplands back in 1999, it was the first purpose-built track officially designed by Herman Tilke. Sepang has built its reputation as being one of the most humid races on the calendar. It is also one of the widest, with an average width of 19 metres across the lap, giving the 5.5km course ample overtaking opportunities. Taking a pole position for the first time this season is Mark Schleuter, just 7/100ths off Zooks. Ruben Machete hopes to put behind his Bahrain troubles by lining up third ahead and improving Santa Callis. Making his first appearance in the World Championship is Istvan Zingel, making it 4 optimal eSports cars on the grid ahead of teammate Jeffrey Fournier. Mirko Mancini saw a massive improvement to take 7th, whilst Patrick Hanko, who's now driving for CMT Go Team following the merger with GOTGP, struggled in the session to take 8th. George Zalgianis and Tom Oldenberger did not have a good quality session overall, just about rounding out the top 10. Replacing Christian Pascal and Giuseppe Santrino for CMT Go Team this round is World Championship debutants Cedric Bill in 11th and Nando Marza in 15th, whilst Matt Tucson, who missed the first round, makes his first appearance in the World Championship this season, albeit from the back of the grid. To the race start, Schleuter gets a decent start off the line while Zooks tries to get a slipstream on the CMT. But the Hungarian did not expect Santa Callis and Ruben Machete on the outside of turn 1, and with better traction, it was Optimal's German to take second place straight away before turn 2. Callis tried to have a look at Zooks for third, but the Optimal driver closed the door at turn 4, whilst Mirko Mancini failed to capitalise on his strong qualifying performance, dropping down to 12th. At the end of the opening lap, Schleuter leads away from Machete, Zooks, Callis, Fournier, Hanko, Zingel, Zalgianis, Oldenberger and Knapp. It took until lap 4 for Machete to really mount pressure on Schleuter as the Optimal driver tries to dive on the inside, but Schleuter holds his nerve throughout the opening 2 corners as Machete was nearly collected by Zooks. Machete tries once again on the next corner on the outside, but again Schleuter holds off the Optimal driver, with CMT's German in particular trying to avoid a repeat of Bahrain. Lap 5, and the severe temperatures of Sepang was beginning to take its course. Santa Callis' decision to start on mediums was not the best idea, but his only saving grace is that Fournier, who is behind him, is also on mediums, with the Sepang circuit cooking the rubber to their rims, as everyone apart from Callis, Fournier, Oldenberger and Mancini on the hard compound. On the next lap, Istvan Zingel drives through the pit lane as a result of a penalty for a simulation-related offence. The punishment has cost the Hungarian dearly, dropping him all the way back to 16th behind Matt Tucson. Further up the field on the same lap, Tom Oldenberger pulls off a classy overtake round the outside of George Zalgianis, putting the Dutchman up into 7th, but only temporarily as he dives in for the pits. Lap 7, and Mirko Mancini is making up ground after his bad start, and the Italian goes on the offensive. He nearly overtakes Peter Knapp for 8th at turn 1, but the Slovakian holds his nerve and Mancini makes a mistake at turn 2, nearly giving his place to Bill. But then with his tyres virtually cooked, Mancini couldn't brake in time and ploughed into the back of Knapp at turn 9. Both drivers managed to keep their engines ticking as the rest of the field passes the Slovakian and Italian. A double disaster for Knapp and Mancini as they drive away behind Matt Tucson in both 13th and 14th. Back at the front, and on lap 8, Machete finally makes his move on Schleuter as the Optimal driver dives just before turn 1, taking the lead for the first time in the race. The lead will only last 4 laps as Schleuter speeds past Machete, nearly outbraking himself for turn 1, allowing Machete to try and retake the lead, but CMT's German held firm and hold on to the top spot. One particular driver who's having a good race is Nando Marza. Despite starting on the last row of the grid, has seen TMT's Hungarian capitalise on the mistakes of others to leapfrog to 10th by lap 12 between both MV Conquest of Jase Latinen and Lucas Viscott. The first scheduled stops began on lap 14 when Jeffrey Fournier coming in from 6th. He rejoins in 14th behind Istvan Zingel and ahead of Peter Knapp. Then Santa Callis, who's the last of the starters on the mediums, changes for the hard compound on lap 15 from 5th. The Estonian just rejoins just ahead of Jeffrey Fournier. Peter Knapp's good performance then all came to a halt. When defending from 15th from Mirko Mancini, he lost control at turn 3, burying his car into the gravel trap, becoming the first retirement of the race. Lap 16, and the hot potato for the lead continues with Machete overtaking Schleuter on the main straight on the outside, the Optimal driver taking the top spot for the second time. This time it was Schleuter who was under pressure as Zooks tries to look around for any kind of path past the CMT driver on lap 20, but despite a massive amount of pressure, Schleuter doesn't give the Hungarian any opportunity for a pass. Further back in the field, and the battle for 6th place is heating up between Geoffrey Fournier and Sander Callas, with both the Frenchman and the Estonian trading jabs, and it all nearly came to a head at turn 4. Callas tries an overtake on the outside and very nearly succeeded, but had no room to go and went on the grass, backing out of the battle, much to Callas' dismay. Lap 22, and Zooks again tries to look for an overtake on Sluiter, but CMT's German just about outbreaks himself to hold on to second, leaving the Hungarian more frustrated than ever. But on the next lap, Zooks makes his move, taking the inside line at the last corner, taking Sluiter off guard, and makes an outside pass on the main straight for second. After 23 laps, Automobile eSports have a 1-2. It will only last for only a lap as Zooks dives in for the pits on lap 24. Sadly for Fournier, his race came to an end on the same lap. Like with Knapp, he spun off 2 just after turn 6, becoming the second in retirement of the race, and only 3 Automobile cars left on the field. Lap 25, and both the race leaders come in for the pits as Sander Callas takes the top spot for the moment. Both Machete and Sluiter rejoin behind Zooks in 3rd and 4th, with both drivers likely to be on a one-stop strategy. 2 laps later, and Sander Callas loses his lead as Zooks speeds past the Estonian to take the top spot. By lap 30, Callas gets overtaken by both Machete and Sluiter. Zooks holds on to the lead for 7 laps before yielding to Machete, taking the lead for the 3rd time with 19 laps to go. Then Zooks re-overtakes Machete for the lead on lap 43, keeping everyone second guessing about optimal strategy. It was all revealed at the end of the lap when all 3 race leaders came into the pits, essentially revealing that all 3 drivers were on a 2-stop strategy. And all 3 leaders exited the pit lane in the exact same order. Zooks leads from Ruben Machete and Mark Sluiter, Sander Callas is catching up in 4th, and George Zalgianis is in a decent 5th. Tom Oldenmenger's disaster from earlier has all been forgotten about as the Dutchman is now open to 6th, as the same fate has been for Esteban Zingel, the Hungarian now in 7th, ahead of Mirko Mancini, who recovered to 8th, and World Championship debutants Cedric Bill and Lando Massa rounding out the top 10. Lap 45, and Zooks yields once again to Machete, with the optimal strategy seemed to have worked perfectly for a 1-2, but Mark Sluiter refuses to give up as on lap 47 the top 3 went 3 wide for a bit at turn 1 before both optimal drivers try to block the CMT, but Sluiter goes around the outside of turn 2 and with better traction CMT's German overtakes the Hungarian and gives chase to Machete, who is on course for his first win of the season. But sadly it all came undone for Optimal's German as on lap 50 he makes a fatal mistake, spinning his car off the track. He managed to get back onto the tarmac but loses both 1st and 2nd to Sluiter and Zooks, losing any hope of a win. Zooks now holds up honours for Optimal eSports, and if he is to win, he needs to dispose of the CMT Go Team driver very quickly. But the task has proven to be very difficult for the Hungarian. In the last couple of laps, Zooks tries to look for any kind of opportunity, but Sluiter gives him absolutely none, and despite a colossal amount of pressure from the Hungarian, Sluiter holds on to his top spot all the way to the finish line. Taking pole and his 2nd win of the season, Mark Sluiter wins in Sepang and doubles his lead in the World Championship. A consistent performance from Zooks ensures he takes 2nd, and despite heartbreak in the last 6 laps, Ruben Machete finishes in 3rd, registering his first points of the season. Sander Callas puts behind his Bahrain woes with 4th, whilst Tom Oldenmenger couldn't do any better than 5th. Esteban Zingel on his World Championship debut takes 6th, with George Zalgianis had a good race to take 7th. A decent first WC race for Cedric Bill takes the Frenchman to 8th, Mirko Mancini's small redemption takes him to 9th, and despite finishing in 10th, Patrick Hanko still retains the lead in the Owen Magogi Cup. So after 2 rounds, the Drivers' Championship sees Sluiter double his points to 50 points, 19 off Zooks. Despite a difficult performance today, Oldenmenger holds on to 3rd, Sander Callas moves up to 4th, 3 points ahead of both Geoffrey Fournier and Patrick Hanko, whilst Ruben Machete gets his first points this season. George Zalgianis moves to 3 points ahead of an absent Giuseppe Saracino, and Mirko Mancini breaks into the top 10 for the first time in 2025. In the constructors' standings, despite the merger with GOTGP, CMT Go Team still lead, but with their gap to Optimal now cut to just 3 points thanks to Zooks and Machete's podium. Vega Valley eSports still hold on to 3rd despite a strong performance by Ground Effect, and despite being bottom of the table, MV Conquest continued their 100% finishing record. The next race is next month at the Albert Park Street Circuit in Melbourne, Australia, as voted for by the FSR community. The race takes place on Sunday the 20th of July, and you can watch that race live as it happens right here on our YouTube channel. Qualifying begins at 8:30 PM GMT, with the race starting at 8:45 PM GMT. In the meantime, you can join in our forums at formula-simracing.net, as well as our Discord server for up-to-date information and joining on the community. The links are in the description below, and you can check out our socials on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. I'm Ron Squire, and join us for the next round of the 2025 Formula Sim Racing World Championship.